Article recorded February 4, 2023 by Sybil Baylor for educational sharing on Flor de Ouro. Remark. Brazilian Marketing Magazine. Consumer behavior of the Harley Davidson brand community and the influence of the expanded self. Abstract. This research aims to evaluate the influence of attitudes and desires on the expanded self and this on the consumer behavior in the Harley Davidson brand community. The relevance of this study points to the fact that brand communities play a fundamental role in the study of marketing in the Brazil, as they offer conditions to investigate and understand, in more depth, aspects related to consumer behavior, understanding about influence and the type of culture that the consumer Brazilians receive in terms of brand equity. ATKIN, 2007, YOO DONTHU, 2001, AAKER, 1998. The research corpus included a survey with 193 participants from brand communities. The approach, the methodology used was quantitative with the use of Smart PLS for data analysis. The results obtained show that intergroup relations, with regard to attitudes, desires and positive emotions, are shared feelings and that expand the desire to participate in the activities of this brand community, which culminates in the expansion of the self of the participant of the Harley Davidson community, through the behavior of group belonging by social interaction, involvement, social identity and behavior with the brand. Keywords: brand community, social identification, Harley Davidson, self-expanded. Noted D-1 Doctorate in Business Administration by the Master's and Doctorate Program in Business Administration at Universidade Nova de July, UNINOVE. 2 Ph.D. in Education from the University of São Paulo, USP. Professor of the Master's and Doctoral Program in Business Administration at the University Nova de Juho, PMDA/UNINOVE. Brazil. 3 Ph.D. in Business Administration from the Master's and Doctorate Program in Business Administration, Universidade Nova de July, UNINOVE. Professor at the Paulista State University Getúlio de Mesquita Filho, UNDSP. For doctoral student at the Master's and Doctorate Program in Business Administration at Nova de Juho University, PMDA/UNINOVE. Professor at the Federal University of Goiás, UFG. Brazil. End of page. Note 1. Introduction. Studies related to behavior of the consumer are not restricted to the consumption of products. This concept can also be extended to act of collecting. Belk, 1988. In that sense, the owning the product carries a set of symbols and meanings that, through the brand, provides the individual with the ability to feel differentiated by the representativeness of the brand that is recognized, worshipped, desired and that creates a social identity of trust, attitudes and power. Baudrillard, 2005, Levy, 1959, McCracken, 2011. About brands, it can be said that have power of aggregation of individuals, since hold shared meanings between groups of consumers. Brands have the ability to make for people to associate, group together and form communities that share concepts that ultimately favor social interactions. AAKER, 1998, Almeida et al., 2011, ATKIN, 2007, Baudrillard, 2005, Lamb et al., 2010, Tachful and Turner, 1979. Due to the power of attraction of brands, many consumers start to cultivate them through communities. The participation of consumers in brand communities is based on the theory of planned behavior, TCP, proposed by YOO in 1985, which comes from psychology and deals with social and psychological processes of individuals, which influence them to participate in communities of brand. TCP, according to YOO in 1985, was an advancement of the theory of grounded action, model theoretical proposed by Fishbein and AAKER in 1975, which takes into account that, in addition to the attitude and subjective norms, the consumer can adopt specific behaviors with rational prediction. To understand the act of forming communities around the brand, the extended self and expanded self theory. Self-extended defines consumer behavior regarding ownership of a branded product. Belk, 1988, Wallendorf, Belk, and Hisley, 1988. Already the theory of expanded self analyzes the capacity of individuals to seek aggregation through a brand. Donnell and Shaw, 2010. Consumer behavior and expansion of these communities launch new challenges to marketing. By the way, these groups originate as veritable tribes and organize around a brand. ATKIN, 2007. Such communities have gradually received attention from businesses, other consumers, and, as that integration with the community increases the value of brand identity, commitment and integration with the group also benefit from the positive effects. Bugzy and Dalakia, 2006. Another important element in this scenario is the consumer's desire to participate in meetings promoted by the brand community. For Bugzy, 1992, consumer behavior is influenced by latent desire and released by people and is related to their needs, biological and psychological, which provide impetus, motivational and influencing tension. In this context, the aim of this article is to evaluate the influence of attitudes and desires on the expanded self and this on the behavior of the consumer in the Harley Davidson brand community. To achieve this objective, this study is structured in 5 sections. The first section deals with the introduction and presentation of the objectives of the study. The second presents the literature review. The third indicates the method and data. The fourth, data analysis, and the last one is composed by the final considerations. Article recorded on February 4, 2023 by Sybil Mann Baylor for educational sharing on Flor de Auro. 2. Theoretical framework. The theories of the self. The extended self and expanded self theories contribute to the understanding of the projection of individuals in society, distinguishing the meanings of having and the belonging that consumption provides to the consumer. 2.1 Extended self theory. The theory of the extended self was presented by William James 1890 and starts from the premise that the man is the sum of everything he can consider as being his, semantically loaded with a strong emotional charge, i.e. the owner of such goods has a very strong attachment to them. When researching the representation of the self in everyday life, Gothman 1985 studied teams formed from these representations, the regional behavior, which we could associate with the communities formed around a brand, and consumer behavior research. The author explains that individuals, when establishing contact, present themselves and investigate the other in expectation of understanding what the other has and his socio-economic condition. According to Gothman 1985, this behavior defines the relation of respect, trust that must be given to the other. The assets we own are the main contributors to reflect on our identity and can represent the extension of the I, the self defined as the individual, and possessions as social inclusion factor. The purchase of products can also represent the extension of the I, since the association of products generates the establishment of possession. Belk, 1988. Maintaining the desired status quo and importance of others' perceptions of the self represent much more to people than we can imagine. Sibalia 2008 highlights the importance of the spectacular I and self-management theme, with the different faces of a person, the management of the idealized image, such as construction of a brand, representing the visibility portrayed in the euphoria of consumption of 21st century, as well as the media proliferation of an eminently visible happiness, or the show of the eye. Schultz et al. 2003 state that when Belk, in 1988, developed his view of the self-extended, a role of possessions, and the extended self started a stream of research, which he and others developed and spread over the years. The researcher challenged the status, traditional beliefs, the previous literature and, above all, the declaration of beliefs of social scientists, particularly the involved in consumer behavior. Belk 2013 explains that changes have occurred since the extended self was proposed in 1988, when there were so many media electronics, allowing, from then on, that the object consumption and the extended self have new meanings. That is, you are what you consume, what you think, and what you share. The meanings that brands convey allow individuals to communicate status, prestige and social identification and still make these associate their image with a particular brand. McCracken, 2011. In this context, marketers face an increasingly competitive market environment. Challenger. With appropriate sounds, words, and pictures, people can be helped to transport themselves to out-of-mind images. Concepts and hopes could be created outside the body and also in the mind. Human. Contributing to the extension of the digital self. Contributing to changes in the behavior of consumer purchase. Schultz et al., 2003. The Theory of the Expanded Self, by Aaron and Aaron, 1996, is based on the motivation of the individual in expanding his self in the search for a new identity, in perspectives of self-development, increased capacity and gain of resources, through relationships that lays down. The objective is to increase the potential of effectiveness and the ability to do new things, achieve personal goals by engaging in new, challenging, or interesting activities, for means of relationships. Mattingly, Lewandowski, McIntyre, 2014. Thus, for Panacea 2011, the expanded self can represent effective searches that they start from the individual's interest in improving the ego, or the self. Based on this premise, to expand, the individual starts a search in the identity of others, to establish exchange ratio, and this fact only occurs because there is interest in what is offered by the other individual or group. From the relationships with this social immersion, there are changes that occur in the self, and, even if unconsciously, there is a comparison of identity between people. In that context, there is the sum of characteristics to the self of the person, who receives influences from the environment in which he is inserted, either by the influences of consumption, proximity that people have to each other, or yet, according to the level of relationship. Even if unconsciously, this allows the occurrence of aspect transfer. Significant aspects of the identity of famous idols, the called self-expanded. Aaron et al., 1991. Still, Panacea 2011 explains that the established exchanges in the expanded self occur in search for changes in the self, based on new experiences provided by a person in an effective relationship or not, or even in the individual's need to establish relationships to join a social group. The author explains that the emotional and social relationships established provide significant changes in the self, and the search for these relationships happen in the sense of exchanges. There are, in the author's opinion, a number of behaviors that characterize the expanded self. Be more aware of things because of the members of the group with whom establish social relationships, the ability to do new things, aiming at the possibility of becoming more attractive to potential future companions, the expansion of the type of person you are, the expansion of your own skills, need to learn and know things new frequently, bigger perspective on things because of the social group, increased respect for other people have for you. The emotional relationship with the symbolism of brand reinforces changes in the self. About this aspect, Batter, Akubia and Bagazzi 2012 studied this magical process, which they called brand love or brand love, reporting the various consequences and the nature of this passion for the brand. However, The authors did not study the transfers of aspects of identity from influences received from the group and individuals. Next, the expanded self. Heron et al. 1991. Object of this research. Heron and Smolin 1992 explained that when learning, knowledge, respect, among other important features valued by the self, diminish in the establishment of exchanges in interpersonal relationships, whether individual or group, there is also a diminution of the expanded self. In this regard, studies demonstrated that social immersion influences the consumption of goods, allowing the expression of consumer identity is constructed from the individual dimension to the social dimension, which allows your identification with the social group, whether under-socialized or over-socialized, based on the economic actions, in a complex process of consumption behavior. Nascimento, Olivera, and Senerano, 2014. This process has associated people with famous brands and communities created around of them, like Harley Davidson, with the transmission of brand meanings, status representation by the financial value of the motorcycle, which is restricted to a social class for the feeling of freedom, for the lifestyle, and also characteristics that are built around the brand, such as the cult of brand, the formation of tribes, with united groups for the same values or interests, showing with significant changes in behavior the relationships established between the community regulars. ATKIN, 2007. In brand communities, for transmission of meanings, the Harley Davidson brand, symbol of freedom, transmits, among other things, the feeling of consumption to have belonging to the group. Belonging to brand community represents being accepted and initiating the exchange of influences that will come through the proximity to the user group of the same product or service. When we associate the expanded self with brand community, we managed to establish connections. As individuals form the so-called self-concept, that is, the set of beliefs, collective beliefs they have about themselves, that is, the perceptions that others have of the I and the maintenance of desired status within a group. Marcus and Worf, 1987, James, 1890. In this way, the self undergoes changes after insertion of the individual in the brand community. The consumer history begins with an interest in brand and the purchase of the product, by the incessant search for a social identity and insertion in a group select. With its insertion in the community, even who is to follow rules of conduct and behavior within the social group, the individual begins to significantly change your behavior, based on the relationships that establishes in the brand community. In this context, two hypotheses arise to follow. H1. There is a positive and significant relationship between attitude and the expanded self. H2. There is a positive and significant relationship between desire and the expanded self. 2. Brand and brand equity. The brand has been highlighted in the marketing studies as one of the attributes that consumer takes into account for the purchase of the product, which allows to differentiate the manufacturing company from a product because it has its own characteristics that allow it to be identified in the market among other brands. AAKER, 1991. Hernandez et al., 2011. According to AAKER 1997, it is a way to indicate to the customer the source of the product, represented by a name, an expression, a single term or even a symbol, a logo, a design on the packaging whose objective is to create in the consumer the kind of registration of a product. The specificity of a brand is directly connected to some element that allows the identification from the manufacturer or the company that is the source of the product, also serving as an instrument that ensures the company's competitiveness in the market, positioning it in a differentiated way compared to other competing brands. AAKER, 1991. Keller, 1998. Kohler and Gertner, 2004, Calkins, 2006, Kohler and Keller, 2012. brands are considered tools used by marketing to promote the differentiation between the products offered in the market. Kohler and Gertner, 2004. And also the brand is something that is beyond the name it represents, because it involves a set of elements such as words integrated, colors, symbols and slogans, deserving of a coherent application of these elements. Berry and Parachuryman, 1992. Also, Chalkery and Holbrook, 2001, mention that a brand is all that determines a company's offering, and as the value of the brand equity in English increases, the market reached consumer is greater, brand loyalty and products increase, the charging of prices specials is possible, adding value to the product and revenue can become more significant. AAKER, Fournier and Brazel, 2004, state that the relationship between the brand and the consumer occurs through psychological factors and behavioral traits of individuals whose relationships can be highlighted under the direct and indirect, being the direct represented by the memories cognitive and indirect through affectivity developed with the brand. Use a certain brand of a particular product or service allows the consumer to acquire a certain status quo and, at the same time, this consumer, in a certain way, projects a form and image of said brand, allowing the company's efforts to be achieved. Attributing meanings to brands. Keller, 1993, Underwood, Bond and Batter, 2001. With the strengthening of brands and the fierce competition at the beginning of the 20th century, brands and the associations generated around it created a need for differentiation, thus emerging the concept of brand equity. According to AAKER, 1998, p.16 are considered brands strong brand equity, which have characteristics own brands in relation to the brands available in the market, such as brand loyalty, knowledge name, perceived quality, brand associations in addition to perceived quality, in addition to other brand owner assets that include patents, trademarks, relationships with distribution, etc. Other brand equity studies, developed by YOO DONTHU, 2001 and based on the concepts of AAKER 1998 and Keller 1993, showed only three dimensions: loyalty to brand, perceived quality and brand memories/associations, according to the shown in Figure 1. Figure 1, YOO DONTHU's them scale constructs, structural model. Description of Figure 1. 3 ellipses where each one points to a fourth ellipse where it says brand equity. In the 3 ellipses that indicate it for her they are: 1. Brand loyalty, 2. Perceived quality, 3. Reminders brand associations. Source: YOO DONTHU. End of the description of Figure 1. Brand equity, often translated as value or equity of a brand, can be considered a way of differentiating, gaining a competitive advantage over the competition, since the consumer is willing to pay a higher value for the product and the brand in relation to two similar products. AAKER, 1998, Schmidt, 1999, Schultz, 2001, Muniz and Marchetti, 2012. How not market? We find several products with the same characteristics. The brand allows the buyer identifies the origin of the product and that the owner can locate and identify the assets. Blonde, 2000. The strengthening of a brand happens to the as it values itself and presents a high level of awareness and loyalty on the part of the consumer to the product. Rust, Lemon and Zytham, 2004. The premium price paid for a brand equity in relation to the others offered in the market is compared by the consumer so that he can satisfy your needs and desires are not linked to the utilitarianism of the product, but many times, to the hedonism provided by a certain brand and the representations and brand symbolism, rooted in its identities. Boyle and Magnuson, 2007. This can be evidenced with international brands, such as Harley Davidson, bringing together groups around the world who identify with this brand, valuing themselves increasingly in the market. LaRose, 2000. Fournier, 1988. Harley Davidson, in addition to being a brand, may represent the status quo symbol for groups or the community. Hawkins, Mothers Best and Best, 2007 explain that brands assume roles as symbols for individuals who extend well beyond the characteristics intrinsic to the category. The person does not buy a motorcycle, and yes, a bar, or the status quo of a brand that symbolizes "I am exactly just like you." The characteristics of the brand and its association with the self may represent the set of relevant personality traits associated with brand: gender, age, socioeconomic class. ATKIN 1996 classifies the personality traits of marks as affection, concern and sentimentality. There are other features that associate the self with the brand, such as reinforcing personality, symbology, brand cult as if it was a religion, formation of tribes, representing the vehicle for the consumer to express different aspects of the self. AAKER 1997, Belk 1988, Jamal and Good, 2001. One aspect of the Harley Davidson brand is the loyalty that, for YOO and Jeffrey 2014 arises based on values from a lifestyle able to unite individuals around a style of life, triggering a magical process in the brand consumer behavior. The reasons presented are not always easy to be interpreted, but enable the growth and sustainability of brand assets throughout the world. The authors AAKER and BTZ 2012 studied this magical process, which they named of brand love or brand love, reporting the various consequences and the nature of this passion to brand. Key points such as brand behaviors, emotional connection, the relationship that stretches many times over many years, the attitude, the confidence, the anguish when there is an early separation of the brand, etc., can cause the individual to establish connections as an effective relationship. With this argument, the hypothesis emerges H3 there is a positive relationship and significant among the brand behavior and expanded self. 2.3 Harley Davidson brand community considered an incarnation on wheels. Harley Davidson, a multinational company Americana, motorcycle manufacturer, began to its story on April 28, 1903 with Arthur Davidson and William S. Barr, in the county of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, installed in a shed measuring 3 meters by 9 meters length, producing the first 3 brand motorcycles. The official brand community, HOG, Harley Owners Group, appeared in 1983. Sponsoring races and events and being considered the first major Harley Davidson group, being which now has over 750,000 members. It is a brand that recognizes in its consumers important aspects that allow treat them as individuals and therefore provide them with the satisfaction of having a machine with origins historical. Members of this community have strong identification with the brand, which is maintained and remembered for alliances for the creation of others' products, such as clothing and other accessories, to create and maintain brand recall. The company BAR distributes, in its communication agencies, a brand manual that describes the emotions experienced the first time someone uses one of your bikes, the joy of the individual, the feeling of freedom, of making your own choices, the sense of adventure, the discovery of new experiences, the reward for achievement of a personal desire with the choice of motorcycle. ATKIN, 2007. It can be said that the identification of the Harley Davidson owner look allows displaying the extent of the self, by displaying and possession of other branded products displayed on community events that establish interrelationships between self-esteem and self-concept consumer in relation to the Harley Davidson brand, being also part of the construction of value of the community. Escalas and Bettman, 2005. Changes in consumer behavior are visible from living with the community brands, as they start to use more and more products, props and have the brand stamped, including tattoos, a very common fact in brand community and one of the ways to highlight the expanded self. Harley Davidson, a brand considered as a symbol of the American male, it symbolizes freedom, hedonism on wheels, lifestyle and not the utilitarianism of a motorcycle per Southeast. To the brand users, there is a lot of emotion attached to the culture and mark. The emotion attached to stories is important, because those who are purchasing branded products must know what it represents. In fact, the stories not only represent the brand, but they also influence culture. ATKIN, 2007. Dieter 2010 explains that brand equity Harley Davidson is evidenced by the success of interrelations between the perceived image of the product and motorcycle owners' self-concept of brand. An interesting aspect regarding the brand was his success in the 1990s in cinema, with the film Terminator 2, with actor Arnold Schwarzenegger and the Fat Boy model. Harley Davidson's macho man par excellence with a strong appeal to a specific market segment, that is, men aged 35 to 54 years. The symbology of this brand manifests itself in various items such as clothing, flashlights and others which, when combined with specific events such as conventions and meetings, form strong interrelationships between the self-esteem and self-concept of the buyer with the Harley Davidson brand. Solomon 2011, page 412 conceptualizes brand community as a group of consumers who share a set of social relationships based on use of or interest in a product. Brand parties, sponsored by companies, such as Harley Davidson, help owners to relate to others' enthusiasts and strengthen their identification with the product, as well as with other people who meet to share their passion. Harley Davidson, in addition to being a brand, may represent, as already mentioned, a symbol of status for the groups or the community. Hawkins, Mother's Boft and Best 2007 explain that brands take on roles as symbols for individuals who extend well beyond the intrinsic characteristics of the category. The person does not buy a watch for the status of a brand, but membership in a club or an I am exactly like you symbol. Levy, 1959. According to Almeida et al. 2013, the fact of the individual wanting to be part of a community exposes his self-image to society, and this denotes three essential characteristics: consciousness shared, rituals and traditions, the moral sense and of responsibility and feelings of belonging, through an intrinsic connection with the brand. The symbolism represented by the brand can be evidenced by the meetings in the worldwide brand communities. There is a text by Bar called Live By It, which can be viewed in an institutional video released in 2006, which turned into a prayer worshipped by motorcycle owners in the brand, representing the profile of freedom, romanticism of the Harlaro, as the owner, in relation to the brand. Social intention is conscious motivation of a person who strives to maintain a behavior, due to the theory of planned behavior, attitude and norms subjective that lead to a social intention. In 1991, Bugarzi and Dalakia, 2006. Identification with the brand occurs through fundamental points, such as the connection emotional, the relationship that extends many times for many years, the attitude, confidence, anguish when there is an anticipated separation from brand, etc. These points can make the individual establishes the same connections as occur in an effective relationship with the brand. Batra, Agubia and Bugarzi, 2012, Solomon, 2011. The brand can represent the consumer when he uses a particular product or service, acquires a certain status and, at the same time, projects a shape and image of said brand, allowing the company's efforts to be achieved. Attributing symbols of an identity known and meanings to brands. Hawkins, Mother's Boft and Best, 2007, Keller, 1993. Levi, 1959. For Wachulka 2012, the identification group should be treated as a central variable designed to help understand the processes inter- and intergroup and its relationship with cognition and behaviors in the field of social psychology. The group behavior depends on the norms and established rules and the fact that the individual feels or not comfortable being around other people that share the same ideas, attitudes, behaviors, subjective norms, desires, etc. Buggersy and Dalakia, 2006. The research developed by Buggersy and Dalakia 2006 is represented in the model of the Figure 2. Figure 2 background and consequences of participation in small brand community groups. Figure description. There are several ellipses with qualities and information. Arrows indicate two relationships. First 5 ellipses: attitude, anticipated positive emotions, anticipated negative emotions, subjective norms, control and perceived behavior, with all 5 pointing to ellipse. Desire, also pointing to desire, is an ellipse. Social identity that points to 3 other ellipses/qualities: cognitive, effective, evaluative, and identification with the brand. The brand identification ellipse points to brand behavior. From the desire ellipse points to social intent, which points to group behavior, which points to brand behavior. End of description of Figure 2. Source: Buggersy and Dalakia 2006, page 47. Brand behavior and antecedents and the consequences of participating in a community of brand can have as objective the motivation of the social improvement. YOO et al. 2014 explains that the appreciation and social improvement can promote the increase in brand community members, as well as the psychological property for feel stronger in a group, increasing the probability that members will be more involved with the brand community. This statement can be in the Reflections of Eunice and Ogin 2001, who explain, in the traditional model of consumption, that the consumer relates to the brand and is the center and the key to relationship in the brand community, what strengthens him socially from the consumption of certain products/brands. Therefore, the focus is not it's more about the brand, and the consumer assumes a role central in the community that revolves around the brand of the product, the company, the consumers, and the marketing itself. Tashful and Turner 1979 considered that the social identity and social representations play an important role in the relationship between groups, and explains that the self-I is composed of set formed by personal identity and identity of a group under Wood, Bond, and Batter, 2001. For example, when an individual buys a Harley Davidson company motorcycle, creates an identity within the social group. Klein Allen 1995 argued that identity also encompasses aspects related to possessions and the consumer's desire to seek autonomy as a personal and collective identity. Group relationships are supported by the social identity of self-concept and belonging to these communities. Therefore, the perspective of social identity of individuals in a group can be defined as a particular group acts or influences individuals. This influence occurs from the self-concept that defines belonging. Group Hogg, 2006. In this sense, it is possible to notice that the situational context can't generate the identity social, as this is shaped from cognition, which, in turn, will define individual behaviors. The following hypotheses complete the model presented in this article. H4. There is a positive relationship and signifier between the expanded self and the social intent. H5. There is a positive relationship and signifier between the expanded self and the behavior with the group. H6. There is a positive relationship and signifier between the expanded self and the social identity. Article recorded on February 4, 2023 by Sybil Mann Baylor for educational sharing on Flor de Auro. Figure 3. Model of the Harley Davidson brand community relationship and its influence on the expanded self of the consumer behavior. Partial description. Sphere with expanded self in the center. Attitude and desire point to the expanded self. The expanded self point to social intent, brand behavior, group behavior and social intent. In short, a relationship between the self and socio-cultural recognition and identification factors is established, a projection of the self towards the interests of the brand. And of Figure 3 description. Article recorded on February 4, 2023 by Sybil Mann-Baylor for educational sharing on Flor de Auro. Note: the self-expanded construct is not second-order. Its variables were hidden for sakes and the model is easier to visualize. 3. Method and procedures. In this study, we used the research exploratory for the composition of the reference. Theoretical and field research was carried out through data collection through the applied questionnaire, via social media, in the brand communities. The research is characterized as quantitative and the data were extracted from the software SurveyMonkey, which served to collect data through a link to the questionnaire generated in the software on the internet. Adoption of the SurveyMonkey was due to the possibility of randomization of the research instrument. From the initial sample, composed of 193 respondents, after verification, could be 104 questionnaires validated. Other questionnaires were discarded due to partial responses found. Furthermore, the 104 questionnaires validated meet methodological assumptions being sufficient to carry out the analysis. YOO research subjects are participants of Harley Davidson brand communities invited to participate in the survey via Facebook in a closed brand group. For data verification, descriptive data of the sample, the STSS version was used. 21. The following steps allowed to detect the presence of data that had not been observed. In this step, the sampling technique was used. Bootstrapping. Hare et al. 2009 explained that the bootstrapping allows you to extract a large amount of data from number of subsamples, estimating model for each one of them. The estimates are combined and not only the best coefficients are estimated. The technique is based on sample data and its expected variability and probability of differ from 0 are used to evaluate the significance p-value of the model correlations measurement and also the regressions in the model structural Ringel, Silva, and Bito, 2014. Then, the analysis of the data begins, from the results shown in Table 1, with the factorial loads of the constructs, respectively evaluating AAKER, composite reliability, R superscript 2, alpha of Cronbach. Then the square root was calculated of the AAKER, incorporated in Table 2 to facilitate the data rating. After running the equation model structural, we check the results report obtained. With this, it was obtained through the PLS qualitative criteria. The first quality overview of the adjusted model, also shown in Table 1. For results analysis verification of profile descriptive data of the respondents showed that 82.86% are from the male and 17.14% female, emphasizing the male predominance in the brand community. We also verify that 46% of them participate alone in the community of brand, 42.06%, with 1 to 2 family members, 8.73% have 3 to 4 family members who participate with them and 2.38% have a company of more than 4 family members in the community of brand. Finally, when asked about the categories of work to which they belong, we found what the research also sought to raise job characteristics of the respondents, how much autonomous, private and public. We found that 51.59% are employees of a private company, 17.46% are entrepreneurs, 15.08% professionals liberals, 14.29% are employed in institutions public and, among the respondents, 1.59%, which say corporate interns. After presenting the description of the profile of the sample, we passed the statistical validation, which was performed using the Smart PLS 2.0 software. That procedure verified the convergent validity of the mean. The model fit results are presented in Table 1. As shown in Table 1, the values inferred are above the reference values for extracted mean variance, the reliability composite, CC and Cron-Bishop's alpha test AC. When analyzing R2, it appears that, in relation to two CUMT_group and CUMT_brand, the values will be below 2%, revealing no effect on the verified relationship. For results analysis, verification of profile descriptive data of the respondents showed that 82.86% are from the male and 17.14% female, emphasizing the male predominance in the brand community. We also verify that 46% of them participate alone in the community of brand, 42.06%, with 1 to 2 family members, 8.73% have 3 to 4 family members who participate with them, and 2.38% have a company of more than 4 family members in the community of brand. Finally, when asked about the categories of work to which they belong, we found what the research also sought to raise: job characteristics of the respondents, how much autonomous, private and public. We found that 51.59% are employees of a private company, 17.46% are entrepreneurs, 15.08% professionals liberals, 14.29% are employed in institutions public and, among the respondents, 1.59%, which say corporate interns. After presenting the description of the profile of the sample, we passed the statistical validation, which was performed using the Smart PLS 2.0 software. That procedure verified the convergent validity of the mean. The model fit results are presented in Table 1. As shown in Table 1, the values inferred are above the reference values for extracted mean variance, the reliability composite, CC and Cron-Bishop's alpha test AC. When analyzing R2, it appears that, in relation to two CUMT_group and CUMT_brand, the values will be below 2%, revealing no effect on the verified relationship. Table 1. Goodness of fit indicators for the proposed model. Construct. Bird. Reliability. Compound. R2. Cron-Bishop's alpha. 1. Construct. Attitude. The 0.889. Reliability. 0.970. Composite. R2. Cron-Bishop's alpha. 0.958. 2. Construct. CUMT_group. A.V.E. 0.987. Composite reliability. 0.993. R2. 0.0001. Cron-Bishop's alpha. 0.988. 3. Construct. CUMT_market. A.V.E. 0.669. Reliability. Composite. 0.800. R2. 0.051. Cron-Bishop's alpha. 0.523. 4. Construct. Desire. The 0.936. Composite reliability. 0.978. R2. Cron-Bishop's alpha. 0.966. 5. Construct. Int_social. The 0.715. Composite reliability. 0.937. R2. 0.493. Cron-Bishop's alpha. 0.917. 6. Construct. int_social. The weight 0.946. Composite reliability 0.972. R2 0.414. Cronbushes alpha 0.943. 7. Construct self_expand. The weight 0.773. Composite reliability 0.979. R2 0.434. Cronbushes alpha 0.977. 8. Construct reference values. The weight greater than 0.50. Composite reliability greater than 0.70. R2 2% equals small effect, 13% equals medium effect, 26% equals large effect. Cronbushes alpha greater than 0.70. Source: the authors. The next step of the analysis is to verify the discriminate validity of the mean, so that interpret whether the constructs, even though relate to each other, retain some independence of relationship. The calculation can be applied by means of two techniques: A criterion of Chin 1988 and B criterion of Fornell and Larker 1981. In this analysis, we employ the second, which, when calculating the square roots of the AAKER values in each construct, compares the correlations between the constructs. From the square root values verified by this technique, must be greater than the correlations between the analyzed constructs. U values of the correlations between the constructs and the square root values of these diagonal are shown in Table 2. Table 2. Correlation between constructs versus square roots of avenue. Note: on the main diagonal are the square root values of the AVs. Source: the authors. See this table by searching directly for the article Harley Davidson Brand Community Consumer Behavior and the Influence of the Expanded Self. As we see in Table 2, the values of the square roots of the AVs obey to the assumption of Fornell and Larker 1981, indicating that the adjusted model has validity discriminate, thus ensuring, once again, the quality of fit of the model, as now shown in Figure 4. Figure 4. Model adjusted by structural equation modeling SEM. See this table by searching directly for the article Harley Davidson Brand Community Consumer Behavior and the Influence of the Expanded Self. From the analysis of Figure 4, the model is verified adjusted for statistical validation. According indicated by 1/2013, the numbers inside of the blue circles, represented by the constructs, indicate how much the variance of the latent variable is being explained by other latent variables. After previous analyses, referring to verification of indicators of latent constructs of the fitted model in equation modeling structural SEM, see Table 1. Correlation between the constructs versus the weight cross loads, see Table 2 and Figure 4. Table 3 presents the inferred results of the statistical procedure accomplished. Table 3. Evaluation of the hypotheses presented in the research. Path. Beta. T-value. Conclusion. H1. Path. Attitude equals greater than self-expanded. Beta. 0.112. P-value. 1.277. Conclusion. Not supported. H2. Path. Wish equals greater than self-expanded. Beta. 0.590. P-value. 5940. Conclusion. SUPPORTED. H3. Path. Self-expanded equals greater than behavior with the brand. Beta. 0.225. P-value. 2.927. Conclusion. Supported. H for path, self-expanded and social intention. Beta. 0.644. P-value. 9459. Conclusion. Supported. H5. Path, self-expanded equals greater than behavior with the group. Beta. 0.012. Value 0.115. Conclusion, not supported. H6. Path, self-expanded equals greater than social identity. Beta 0.703. Value 12,374. Conclusion, supported. Note: students' t-test values less than 1.96 indicate that the p-value is greater than 5%, p greater than 5%. Source: the authors. Confirming the aforementioned information. Table 3. Through the analysis of the module of bootstrapping, it can be seen in Figure 5 of the MET, now with their respective test values, that two constructs have no explanation. OK mention that these values are also included in the report that can be requested after running the module. Figure 5. Students' t-test values calculated using the bootstrapping technique. Source: the authors. In the article, the values highlighted in the circle in red are configured as non-significantly 1.96 and, therefore, do not confirm their respective hypotheses. Through the analysis of blindfolding, it was calculated the relevance or predictive validity Q superscript 2, or the accuracy precision of the structural models, being that the reference values are Q2 greater than 0. Also is used to calculate the effect size F superscript 2, or Cohen's indicators, which serve to determine the utility of each construct and the influence of endogenous variable and the exogenous variable in the model. Considering the reference values 0.02 weak, 0.15 median and 0.35 height, U results are shown in Table 4. As shown in Table 4, the evaluation of the Q2 predictive validity and the size of the EF2 effect. From the analysis, it appears that the construct comp_group O did not satisfy the reference values of the predictive validity Q2 greater than 0, as it presented an index 0.002. On the other hand, from the analysis of the effect F2, the results supported the values references, because, although the construct comp_market revealed a small effect 0.099 unimportance for the model in general, just another comp_group which revealed the medium effect 0.239. The others, attitude, desire, int_social, int_social and self-expand, were far above the values considered to be of great effect. Table 4. Assessment of predictive validity Q2, or indicator of Stone Geyser, and the effect size F2, or Cohen's indicator. Construct: cb_red.q superscript 2, cb_com.f superscript 2. 1. Construct: attitude, cb_red.q superscript 2, 0.786, cb_com.f superscript 2, 0.786. 2. Construct: comp_group, cb_red.q superscript 2, negative 0.002, cb_com.f superscript 2, 0.239. 3. Construct: comp_market, cb_red.q superscript 2, 0.019, cb_com.f superscript 2, 0.099. 4. Construct: desire, cb_red.q superscript 2, 0.803, cb_com.f superscript 2, 0.803. 5. Construct: int_social, cb_red.q superscript 2, 0.342, cb_com.f superscript 2, 0.605. 6. Construct: int_social, cb_red.q superscript 2, 0.385, cb_com.f superscript 2, 0.660. 7. Construct: self_expand, CB Red.Q Superscript 2, 0.323, CB Com.F Superscript 2, 0.731, 8. Construct, reference values, CB Red.Q Superscript 2, Q2 greater than 0, CB with .F Superscript 2, 0.02, 0.15 and 0.35 are considered small, medium and large. Source: the authors. 5 Final considerations. This article sought to validate a model still in the exploration phase on the behavior of the Harley Davidson brand community consumer and the influence of the expanded self. After analyzing the results, it was found that 2 hypotheses were not accepted: H1 and H5 referring to the attitude equals greater than self-expanded and self-expanded equals greater than behavior with the group. Such paths were not significant p-value greater than 0.05 and, therefore, do not corroborate with the considerations of Marcus and Worf 1987 by James 1890 and Honk 2006. Although there are information that attitudes influence social interactions by Ghazi and AAKER 2006. The community of the brand in question seems not to claim only for the brand, but more for the whole concept of the product in question, not representing thus a more cohesive group, as observed in other countries. Furthermore, this study shows that the expanded self does not precede group behavior, although Bagazi and AAKER 2006 indicate that this behavior is due to or dependent on that construct. As for the other 4 hypotheses, these were confirmed, indicating agreement and reaffirmation with the precepts of Bagazi and AAKER 2006 in 1991, Batra, Akubia and Bagazi 2012 and Boyle and Magnuson 2007. As a suggestion for future research, review the attitude and behavior subscales. Behavior with the group so that one can expand them and review possible better adaptations for Brazilian culture. References: ATKIN, D.A. 1991, Managing Brand Equity. Capitalizing on the Value of a Brand Name. New York: Free Press. ________ 1996. Building Strong Brands. New York: Free Press. ________ 1998. Brand Equity, Managing the Value of Brand. Sao Paulo, Business. ________ 2007. How to Build Brands Leaders. Porto Alegre, Bookmam. AAKER, J.L. 1997. Journal of Marketing Research. Dimensions of Brand Personality. 347356. AAKER, J.L. Fernye, S.M. and Brazil, S.A. 2004. When Good Brands Do Bad. J. Consumers. 31 June 1-16. IN. 1991. The Theory of Planned Behavior. In Organizational Behavior and Human Decision Processes. IN. 1985. From Intentions to Actions, The Theory of Planned Behavior. In QE. J. and Beckman J. eds. Action Control, From Cognition to Behavior. Heidelberg, Springer, 11-39. Almeida, S.O.D. Matson, J.A. Dalakia, U.M. and Muller-Nito, H.F. 2011. The Effects of Participation in Virtual Brand Communities. In Consumer Behavior, Proposition and Test of a Theoretical Model. Magazine of Contemporary Administration. Curitiba, 15-3-366391. Almeida, L.O.V. Tavares, M.C. Erden, 80. Teixeira, D.J. 2013. Brand Communities and Harley Davidson Owners from Belo Horizon. Management and Technology Magazine, 13-3. 235257. Technology, Peter Leopoldo, V13, number 3, pages 235, 257. Aaron, A. and Aaron, B.N. 1996. Self and Self-Expansion in Relationships. Knowledge Structures in Close Relationships, a Social Psychology Approach, 325344. Underscore 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 Tudor, M. and Elson, G. 1991. Close Relationships as Including Other in the Self. Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, 62 241253. Underscore 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 and Smallman, D. 1992. Inclusion of Other in the Self Scale and the Structure of Interpersonal Closeness. Journal of Personality and Social Psychologist, 63 596612. ATKIN, D. 2007. The Cult of Brands, When Customers Become True Fans. They Are Paul Cultrix, Bugzy, RP. 1992. The Self-Regulation of Attitudes, Intentions and Behavior. Social Psychology Quarterly, 55-17804. Underscore 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 and AAKER, UM. 2006. Antecedents and Purchase Consequences of Customer Participation in Small Group Brand Communities. Inter.co. No Journal of Research in Marketing, 23 45-61. Batra, R. Ahu, A. and Bugzy, RP. 2012. Brand Love. Journal of Marketing, 76 1-16. Baudrillard, J. 2005. The Consumer Society, Lisbon, Editions 70. Belk, R.W. 1988. Possessions and Extended Self. Journal of Consumer Research, 15 139168. Underscore 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 2013. Extended Self in a Digital World. Journal of Consumer Research, 43 477500. Berry, L. and Parachuriman, 8. 1992. Services of Marketing, Competing Through Quality. Sao Paulo, Maltese Norma. Chap. 1-4. Boyle, B8, and Magnuson, P. 2007. Social Identity and Brand Equity Formation, a Comparative Study of Collegiate Sports Fans. Journal of Sport Management, 21 497. B. and Jeffrey, S. 2014. The Power of Cult Branding, In Search of Your Best Customer. American Salesman 59-9, 18-20. To Chalk Your Right, A. Holbrook, M.B. 2001. The Chain of Effects from Brand Trust and Brand Affect to Brand Performance, A Role of Brand Loyalty. Journal of Marketing, 65 87-90. Connell, P.M., and Shaw, H.J. 2010. The Pursuit of Identity Augmentation, Self-Expansion and Self-Extension as Distinct Strategies. Advances in Consumer Research, 37 75-89. Escalas, J.E., and Bettman, J.R. 2005. Self-Construal, Reference Groups, and Brand Meaning. Journal of Consumer Research. 32-3 378389. Fishbein, M. I. 1975. Belief, Attitude, Intention and Behavior, An Introduction to Theory and Research. New York, Addison Wesley. Dieter, R. 2010. Harley Davidson, Dreams About Wheels. Dieter Redman, Horst Rossler, Frank Sander. Sao Paulo, Editor Escala. Collection Harley Davidson. Fern S. 1998 Consumers and Their Brands. Developing Relationship Theory in Consumer Research. Journal of Consumer Research, 24, 343373. Goffman, E. 1985 The Representation of the Self in Life Everyday. Petropoulos, Voices. Hare J.F., Black W.C., Babin P.J., Anderson R. E., and Tapham, R.L. 2009 Multivariate Analysis of Data. Bookman Publishers. Harley Davidson. The History of Harley Davidson. Retrieved on September 19, 2014. Available at http://www.moto.com.br/harley-davidson/history.html. Hawkins, Del I. Mother's Boss, David L. and Best, Roger J. 2007 Consumer Behavior, Building the Marketing Strategy. River of January, Elsevier. Hernandez, H.A.M. C. Mann, T.M. Lopes, D.M.G., and McEllen, L.F. 2011 Brand Extension Service Companies, The Similarity Effect, Perceived Extent and Perceived Quality of Brand. RAC. Management Magazine Contemporary. 15, 4, 561579. Hong, them A. 2006 Social Identity Theory. In, Burke, P.J. Morg. Contemporary Social Psychology Theories. Palo Alto, Stanford University Press, 133157. Jamal, A. and Good, M. them H. 2001 Consumers and Brands, a study of the impact of self-image congruence on brand preference and satisfaction. Marketing Intelligence and Planning, 19 482492. James, W. 1890 The Principles of Psychology. London, Harvard University Press. Keller, K.L. 1993 Conceptualizing, Measuring, and Managing Customer-Based Brand Equity. Journal of Marketing, 57, 1-22. Keller, K.L. 1998 Strategic Brand Management, Building, Measuring, and Managing Brand Equity. New York, Prentice Hall. Klein, S.S., Klein, R.E., and Talent, C.T. 1995. How is a possession neat or not neat? Characterizing types and an antecedent of material possession attachment. Journal of Consumer Research, 22 327 343. Lamias Cake, Ahern M. The White, and Skywalker 10. 2010 Resistance to Brand Switching when a radically new brand is introduced. A Social Identity Theory Perspective. Journal of Marketing 74-6, 1-8-146. Levy, S.J. 1959 Symbols for Sale. Harvard Business Review 37-4, 117124. Code Alert, P. Gertner, D. 2004 Marketing Strategic Places. Sao Paulo, HSM Magazine Management, 44-3, 63-93. Code Alert, P. and Keller, K.L. 2012 Management of Marketing. 14. Education Sao Paulo, Pearson Education from Brazil, Marcus, H. and Worth, E. 1987 The Dynamic Self-Concept, A Social Psychological Perspective. Annual Review of Psychology 38-1, 299337. Mattingly Bog, Lewandowski G.W. Jr., and McIntyre, K.P. 2014 You Make Me a Better / Worse Person, The Two-Dimensional Model of Relationship Self-Change. Personal Relationships, 21, 176190. McCracken, G. 2011 Chief Culture Officer, How to Create a Living, Breathing Corporation. Basic Books. Eunice, A.M., and Ogan, T.C. 2001 Brand Community. Journal of Consumer Research 27-4-412432. Eunice, A.M., Marchetti, R.Z. 2012 Brand Personality Dimensions in the Brazilian Context. Brazilian Administrative Review, 9-168-188. Nascimento, M.R. Oliveira, J.S., and Senerano, 8. 2014 The Influence of Social Immersion on Constitution of the Meanings of Consumption and in the Adoption of Technological Products by Adolescents. The Theoretical Analysis from the Sociology Economic. Contemporary Perspectives 8-2. 22-42. Panacea, L. 2011 Self-Expansion and Coupled Possessions, The Representation of the Self and Other Invalued Possessions. A thesis doctoral dissertation, Indiana State University. Ringel, C.M., Silva, D., and Bido, D.D.S. 2014 Structural Equation Modeling with Use of Smart PLS. Marketing 13-54. Rust, R.T., Lemon, K.N. and Naranjas. DOS 2004. Customer Equity Management, Neutral Jersey, Pearson, Prentice Hall. Simalia, P. 2008 The Show of the Self, Intimacy as Show. Rio de Janeiro, New Frontier. Solomon, M.R. 2011 The Behavior of the Consumer, Buying, Owning and Being. 9. Education Porto Alegre, Bookman, Schultz, on E. and Barnes E. Beth. 2003 Strategic Communications Campaigns Brands. Sao Paulo, Quality Mark. Tachbull, H. Turner, J.C. 1979 An Integrative Theory of Intergroup Conflict. In the Social Psychology of Intergroup Relations. William G. Austin and Stephen Wirchel, Montague, C.A. Brooks/Cole. Underwood R., Bond E., and Backer R. 2001 Building Service Brands via Social Identity, Lessons from the Sports Marketplace. Journal of Marketing Theory and Practice. 1-13. Wacholka, J. 2012 Identification with the Group, Adaptation and Validation of a General Measure for the Brazilian Context. Psychology and Knowledge Social 1-2-187-200. Wallendorf, M., Belk, R., and Hisley, D. 1988 Deep Meaning in Possessions, The Paper. Not Advances in Consumer Research, 15, 528-30. 1. KKK. 2013 Partial Least Squares Structural Equation Modeling PLS Techniques Using Smart PLS. Marketing Bulletin, 24 1-32. Yang, Bingshed, Yang, Fed Jijing and Yang, Yang, 1, Xing Dong. 2014 Network Centrality in a Virtual Brand Community, Exploring an Antecedent and Some Consequences. Social Behavior and Personality. International Journal 42-4, 571. YOO, B. and Donthu, N. 2001 Developing and Validating the Consumer-Based Multidimensional Brand Equity Scale. Journal of Business Research. 50-1, 1-14. Article recorded on February 4, 2023 by Sybil Mann Baylor for educational sharing on Flor de Ouro.
my heart's done work. A new weekend he's coming. I put my crankshaft boots, so my Eagle black jacket. Harley Davidson, Harley Davidson, Harley Davidson. I got to ride my little baby. I say hello, fat boy.